Hi there, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. I'm excited to announce a new season of my podcast, Math and Magic, Stories from the Frontiers of Marketing. Our guests this season show us big risk can yield big rewards, like Rob Riley, the creative head of one of the world's leading advertising firms.
I try to create environments where anybody can say anything without any judgment.
Listen to a brand new season of Math and Magic on our very own iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we are coming back to Atlanta.
Right now. Whoa.
Mark your calendars because the second annual Black Effect Podcast Festival is happening on Saturday, April 27th. Hosted by B-Dot and Pretty V. Last year was nuts, but we about to do it bigger and better. We've got some of your favorite podcasts like Carefully Reckless, Horrible Decision, and the Good Brothers Wallow 267 and Gilly the Kid, just to name a few. Go get your tickets right now, blackeffect.com/podcast festival. We'll see you Saturday, April 27th.
I'm Johnny B. Good, the host of the podcast Creating a Con, the story of Bitcoin. This podcast dives deep into the story of Ray Trapani and his company Centratech. I'll explore how three 20-somethings built a company out of lies, deceit, and greed.
I've been saying since a very young age that I was going to be a millionaire. If someone's like, oh, what's your best way of making money? I'm like, oh, we should start some sort of scheme.
Listen to Creating a Con, the story of Bitcoin, starting April 3rd on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Episode 394, Frugal Side Hustles. Summer Side Hustles for Teachers.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends Podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to Frugal Friends Podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And this is our Summer Side Hustles episode. We say it's for teachers, but it could really be for anyone.
Yeah, if you're looking for a summer side hustle, doesn't matter what you do. But there are, for the career path that has summers available, this is something that a lot of teachers need to consider, maybe want to consider for financial goals. So we've got a lot of teachers that listen to the podcast who have given us some ideas that we want to go through. We'll turn to the internet as we do. But first, this episode is brought to you by Ms. Frizzle, one of the most top-notch teachers.
Debatable.
She had the perfect combination of being completely unhinged while also still relatively capable of watching children. If this describes your teaching style or your parenting style, and you really just wish you had access to a magic school bus that instead of taking you inside microscopic life, took you to exotic destinations that gave you cash to bring home, then sign up for the Friendletter. It's the next best thing to money and vacations because we're telling you about freebies, savings hacks, and ways to spend better. It's our version of a magic school bus. Like Ms. Frizzle says, take chances, make mistakes, get messy. Frugalfriendspodcast.com. Get the Friendletter.
I do like that saying. But what I like the best is at the end of the Magic School Bus books, they have like quote unquote letters to the editor pointing out all the inconsistencies in the field trip or in the science of it and being like, yep, we know.
Who cares?
Yeah, I'm like,
this is for entertainment.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
like the podcast.
Yeah, self-realization, just knowing thyself is very important. So, Frugal Side Hustles. We love this series. We do it often, and we want to share business ideas that can be done as side hustles, but could potentially grow to bigger things. And we're taking the same approach with this summer side hustle episode, but we have a lot of others. So episode 356, we talk about Airbnb rooms and co-hosting. Episode 338, we talk about self-publishing, fiction and nonfiction with MK Williams. She's a really successful fiction author, self-published. And episode 320, bookkeeping with Kate Johnson. That's a really good one. You'll hear a little bit more about that one in this episode. I honestly think that is the perfect side hustle for teachers, especially if you like if you're the math type teacher, or if you enjoy math more than the regular teacher, bookkeeping is a fantastic side hustle that can be turned into a full-time business should you ever want or need it to.
Yeah. Great side hustle episodes. But here we are. We're here for our teachers right now. And this first article comes from Education Week. It's titled, Teachers' Summer Jobs Can Be Fun, but That's Not Why They Do It. I don't know that anybody ever said working another job after your main job is fun. But
sometimes it is. I mean,
it could be.
Like we've both worked so many side hustles. Like this could be the Side Hustle Sisters podcast. And I didn't necessarily do it for the fun, but I worked at a foster group home because it was so different from my regular job. Yeah. And it was something I was really passionate about.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily need to do it, but like it gave me like access to a world that I wanted to learn more about, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think this article is just a helpful introduction. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. I couldn't totally find the type of article I was looking for, so I'm just going to weave in the things that I wanted to say that aren't in this article, but they do start off by describing rancher, Airbnb host, dog boarder, governess to children of billionaires. I don't know how you find that gig. Bartender, jewelry welder, minor league baseball mascot, sailing instructor, wedding videographer, just a sampling of the side hustles that some teachers take on during the summer months, and really describing that most teachers are doing this because they need the extra income. We'll talk about our poll a little bit later, but many of you teachers do have additional work, side hustles, maybe throughout the year, maybe just for the summer. Very few of you are actually just taking the very needed rest and break. And a lot of that having to do with needing the extra money. We're not going to take a deep dive into teachers being underpaid, but where you want to see additional financial goals of paying down debt, maybe just for a season, what can be considered. So I appreciate that they highlighted some of the discrepancies with income and expenses for many teachers, that unfortunately additional work is needed. And I think one of the things in light of this that I wanted to highlight before we got into all of the different ideas that you could be doing is still taking inventory of what's going to be realistic. That I think considerations are needed before you just jump on, okay, yeah, let me try that. Let me try that. Let me try that. Let me see what sticks. I think we need to be looking at mental, emotional, physical energy, that being with children all day, almost every day for a solid span of months does take a toll on all of these aspects of our personhood. So considering what can I reasonably do and what does my summer months look like? Do you have children in school who now are at home and you are primarily responsible for now because they're also not in school? Like these things, we sometimes can think, oh yeah, that sounds great, let me do it. And then it's not until we're in it that we realize, oh no, I overcommitted myself. So really recognizing that, yeah, I could use the extra money, but what can I reasonably do? What do I have the energy, the mental capacity, emotional capacity for? Also, what amount of supplemental income do I need? And that all of these questions can help us to narrow down what you might end up doing. Is it $1,000? Is it a few $1,000s? That's going to help steer you in the direction of what you might say yes or no to. How big of a bang for your, or how big of a buck for your energy are you going to need? And then something else that I think, because Jen and I often talk about the difference between just like a side hustle or a side business. Some of our side hustle episodes are talking about entrepreneurship and starting your own side business. So I think that's also a consideration worth doing now both now and in the future. What's going to help me now, but what also might help set me up in the future? Is it possible that I'm considering now that I don't want to be a teacher in this capacity for forever? You may want to consider starting a side business now that can grow. It's part of that like 80-20 question. It's part of that like focusing question. Is there something that I can do now that will make the future easier or some of these jobs unnecessary? And if that's the case, not just considering dog walking, but considering starting your own online business might be for you. So these are just some of the things that I wanted to highlight before we just started throwing out these ideas of side hustles others have had, really taking inventory for yourself of what are my capacities, what is the financial number that I'm looking to reach, and what do I want my future to look like? And are there things that I could be doing now with minimal amounts of time that could grow into something more that could really open up doors of possibility for me?
Yeah, I mean, well said. I think if you feel like you want to, stay home with your kids, or you're just like, I mean, honestly, like teaching is done for you. You're done with teaching. As someone with children in public school, I feel for you and I don't envy you, and you have permission to get out. It's really hard in there. And so if this can give you the freedom you need to start small and just enjoy, we don't always need to do work that we are passionate about. I think for 99% of us, work should just fuel the things that we're passionate about. And so if that's you, I think teachers who are really in it, passionate about it, but if that's not you, then we hope that this series, especially this episode, will give you some ideas to start that ball rolling.
Yeah, and both are in here. So if you do love what you do and you're just like, I just need a little bit of extra income for minimal amounts of effort, what's out there, then we got you.
Mm-hmm.
For many of us, there comes a time when we need to navigate some complex money situations, and it's tough to know who to trust when receiving crucial financial advice. That's where Fearless Finance comes in.
Fearless Finance is making financial advice more affordable and accessible. They're a fee-only financial planning firm that provides on-demand, comprehensive financial planning by the hour, without the high fees and long-term commitments that come with traditional financial advisors. You can quit whenever you want with no strings attached.
Their planners meet you where you are at on your financial journey. So whether you're looking to buy a house, optimize your savings, or just want to get expert eyes on your finances to ensure you're on the right track, they can answer your questions and help you achieve your goals.
Visit fearlessfinance.com today to get started. You can chat with a planner for free to make sure it's a good fit, and you'll get $50 off your first planning meeting when you use the code FRUGAL.
Hi, I'm John Hope Bryant, host of Money and Wealth on the Black Effect Podcast Network. I'm an entrepreneur and a businessman, some would call a thought leader. Now, every Thursday, my newest venture is educating you on how to win financially. Even better, I'm going to teach it in a way that, you can understand. No unexplained theories, no mundane lessons, no using 20 words when 2 will do. I'm going to meet you where you are and take you where you need to be. I'm giving you straight talk, relatable stories, and life lessons through my own experiences and the lens of others. We're not just talking about why financial freedom is important. We're focusing on how you can achieve it too. We all might have different starting points and end goals, but as long as we have the desire to acquire financial freedom, it can be done. From the streets to the suites. Listen to Money and Wealth with John Hope Bryant every Thursday on the Black Effect Podcast Network, iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I used to have so many men.
How this beguiling woman in her 50s,
she looked like $1 million,
with 0 qualifications,
she had a Harvard plaque,
tricks her way past a wall of lawyers and agents.
She's got all of these Maseratis and Bentleys all in the driveway.
Is it like a mansion?
Yes, it's a mansion that this queen of the con uses to scam some of the biggest names in professional sports out of untold fortunes.
About $6 million.
Approximately $11 million.
Nearly $10 million was all gone.
employing whatever means necessary to bleed her victims dry.
She would probably have sex with one of her clients.
Hide your money in your old rich man because she is on the prowl.
Listen to Queen of the Con, Season 5, The Athlete Whisperer, on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, so let's get into the second part where we're actually talking about what are teachers doing in the summer. I gotta admit to you, Jen, I don't think that I totally knew how many teachers are working in the summer. My impression was y'all are kicking back. This is your vacation time. You're just maybe cleaning your house, catching up on stuff, maybe doing a little bit of prep for the next school year. And that's that. But no, y'all are out there hustling.
Half of the teachers in our Friendletter survey are doing some kind of summer job to make extra money. And so I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the results of the survey that we did. And then Jill is going to expound on a few more ideas in the next article. But so some of the things that our listeners and readers are already doing who are teachers. And again, you don't have to be a teacher to do these, but they are best suited for them. So online tutoring, part-time and weekend bookkeeping, and customer service for a local grocery store. You can do bookkeeping and customer service for businesses virtually. And that is a great part-time gig, especially for small businesses. And this reader says she does it part-time during the year and then will take on more over the summer, essentially getting 40 hours a week.
Again, we've got that bookkeeping episode with Kate Johnson, episode 320. If this one's piquing your interest, go back to that one.
We have a reader who does summer school. That's a really good one that a lot of people said they did. We've got an Instacart shopper and Amazon Flex shopper. I have a friend, Kevin, who his transportation is exclusively e-bike, and he will just deliver all kinds of, he's a former lawyer, and now he just does Uber Eats, Grubhub, stuff on small things, not even small things. He just takes this, he'll move his 2 kids on his e-bike, we have to have him on the show, honestly. But yeah, you could there's so many options for this. We have a reader who cleans houses during the summer. And we have someone who worked at Walmart during the summers, and kids thought it was so cool to see me outside of school. This one I loved. I run musicals in the summer through a local community theater. So it's basically making my music job an all year round experience. We have one reader whose granddaughter is a high school teacher, and she walks dogs and babysits while people are away. I love the dog walking thing. I have a friend who does this, and it's so easy to just go check on dogs, to bring them to the park, take them for walks. And then you get a consistent, groove going with some dogs. It's a really good side hustles. Yeah. She says sometimes, including the pet sitting, it'll include just watering their plants, bringing the mail in.
That's the thing. We will consider holiday jobs, that stores are hiring more around the holidays to keep up with the level of customers that they have. But also we can think, what do most people do in the summer? And how can I shift around that? People go on vacation. So what happens to the dogs they leave behind, the houses they leave behind?
What happens to the dogs?
Airbnb bookings potentially could increase in certain areas. If you live in one of those destination spots, could you pick up some cleaning even for some Airbnbs just for the summer? I think there's so many things that, what are the trends of the seasons and how can I take advantage? So, weddings, don't even get me started on the wedding industry, but there certainly is a lot to be said for what you could intersect with that doesn't have to follow you throughout the rest of the year unless you want it to.
Yeah. Oh, day of coordinators for weddings, man. Yeah. You're not involved in any of the planning leading up to the day. You just show up on the day and you're coordinating everything that has already been planned.
Yeah.
What a great one-day job. Another great one-day job. This reader says she's a poll worker because schools are closed. So she can always be there because the schools are closed that day.
Like voting polls.
Yeah, and it's $250 that she'll make in one day.
In one day.
She also owns a tutoring business year-round. She's a lifeguard, works summer school, teaches swim lessons, dog sitting. It is very telling that those of you who work side hustles, you're not just working one.
Yeah.
That you're doing multiple.
Yeah.
One reader says her husband, who's a teacher, does curriculum planning over the summers. That's a really good one. I think if you wanted to like sell curriculum, I know my friend who's a teacher, and I'm always saying like, you love making science curriculums and everybody else says they hate them.
Yeah.
Like you can sell your curriculums to other teachers. And she's like, there's too many people and teachers pay teachers. If you are just putting yourself, yes, there are a ton of people on teachers pay teachers. Yes, it's the Etsy for teachers. But just because there's a bunch of people on there doesn't mean you can't also be on there. If you've already made custom curriculum, why not put it up there? And when someone asks you about it, you send them the link.
Yep. Why not? You've already created it. Someone else wants it. Listen, there's a ton of podcasts out there. Here we are.
Yeah.
We're still showing up 2 days a week. It doesn't matter. You can barely convince me out of thinking that there's not enough space for everybody.
There's enough space for everyone
to be able to do what they want to do because you represent a specific niche. No one else is providing exactly the way that you're providing it. So try it. Why not? Okay, I want to talk about this article, which comes from The Ways to Wealth. It's called 10 Side Hustles for Teachers. It's not specifically summertime, although a lot of them can just be done in the summertime, or you could put lots of energy and effort into it for the summer and then allow it to kind of keep bringing in revenue throughout the year. However you want to slice and dice this thing, I thought that there were some actual really good ideas. The first few, I'm just going to kind of combine into one. Their number 1, 2, and 5 are pretty similar. So selling printables, lesson plans, I think maybe even a course was number 5, all along the same lines. This kind of digital resources that you can create and sell, which is exactly what Jen, you just said. I just want to reiterate this, that maybe it is a lesson plan. You've come up with a really cool way to teach this concept in science. Great. Put it out there. Put it on Teachers Pay Teachers. Put it on Etsy. Put it out there. Create your own website. However deep you want to go into this. Sell printables. That's also something that can just be done on Amazon. Just any type of thing that can be utilized by other teachers, potentially even parents. I'm about to get there, but even homeschool families. So I can't speak for this. I don't know how many homeschooling parents go on Teachers Pay Teachers, but there could be a whole other niche of how to resource homeschooling families with some of the things that you know, because you are a professional teacher who's gone through the schooling and have taught many, many children, and you've got all sorts of tips and tricks up your sleeves. There, you are a resource. If no one's ever told you you're a resource, you are a resource. There's so much that you have in your repertoire that you could be selling online. The summertime could be the time to really put a lot of energy and effort into it, and then let those puppies sell for the rest of the year.
Yeah. And you could also sell digital products that help teachers become better teachers. If you have a strength in the classroom that other teachers are seeking your advice, or someone has said, oh, go talk to so-and-so, she's really good at that, or she's got a system for that, then you can create something that can be sold to teachers at a wider audience. And it can be given away for free to the teachers around you. Get some testimonials. Again, make a website. You may not sell anything right away, but you sell nothing without a buy button. So putting it out there and just like getting it there, so when somebody does ask you about something, you have a place to direct them to.
Yeah. I am really excited about this next one. I can't say I've ever heard of this. Number 7 is being a homeschool consultant. Here's a staggering statistic. Between 2020 and 2022, the number of homeschooled children in America nearly doubled. So from 2.3 million to 4.3 million, the number of people homeschooling is insanity. A lot of that having to do with the pandemic, obviously, and then people just continuing on. People homeschool for a variety of reasons, but homeschool families need your teacher assistance. So homeschool consultants can help with anything from creating a homeschool schedule, helping to choose curriculum, helping to adjust curriculum to a family's needs. Because usually a family that's homeschooling has multiple age children in different grades with different learning styles. That's for many people one of the reasons that they homeschool, so that they can give a very individualized approach to their student. And who better to consult than a teacher who works with 20 kids on a daily basis? Like, you know how to work with different types of kids and learning styles. So you could even help parents coach on, yeah, you know how to parent this kid, but do you know how to teach this child? And so figuring out a homeschooling style, how to homeschool multiple ages.
We don't even know how to parent.
Yeah, right?
Much less teach.
That's so true. How to incorporate hands-on learning instruction, how to homeschool high school students, homeschooling children with various learning difficulties, finding resources or working with a struggling reader, maybe even offering some of the teaching after school hours if you want to do this throughout the year, like a version of tutoring possibly, but maybe even handling the entire subject for that student.
Become a specialized tutor only for homeschool students. And you then only work during the day in the summer. You don't have to, work afternoons or nights after kids are out of school. And eventually, if you wanted to be doing, throughout the year, leaving your teaching job, then you're only working the days that, homeschool kids are at school.
With the number of homeschool families, this tells me you could start as simply as finding a mom group on Facebook that's local to you and putting it out there that this is something that you're offering. This is also making me think of, not on this list, but how many moms I've talked to who bemoan the summer with their kids and just like, what am I going to do? We function so well on rhythm and routine, and the summer just throws it all out of whack. What about preparing plans for just families? They're not even homeschool families. They're becoming homeschool families essentially in the summertime, but preparing loose schedules and potential fun learning activities that people could be doing through the summer. I can't think of a single mom that I know who wouldn't pay at least $20 for that. Just like, yep, give me the resources. What can I do on a day-to-day basis? What are some ideas for activities? There you go. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. And this could grow into something. We have friends that now are part of a hybrid homeschool where they send their kid to this private school 2 or 3 days a week, and then they homeschool them the other 2 or 3 days. So getting involved, finding one of those hybrid homeschools and maybe getting involved there. Not necessarily starting your own, but figuring out how to get involved. So lots of options for homeschooling.
Okay, I'm not done being excited about the ideas in this article. Number 8 on the list is become an adjunct professor. So what I'm learning from all you teachers out here is that many of you have gone on to get your master's degree. There's incentives for it with pay scale. There's some push for it. You do not need a PhD to be a professor. You do need to have a master's degree though. So if that's you, if you're a teacher with a master's degree, considering an adjunct professor role is a fantastic idea. This is actually something I personally do as a side hustle. And I can attest to, specifically in the summer, a lot of universities are looking for adjunct professors because their regular faculty, their employee staff, wants off for the summer. It's like a traditional teaching role. They're closed for the summer, but they're not closed, but a lot of the regular university schedule kind of slows down for the summertime, but there's still some classes that are going through the summer and they want to give their faculty off. So they will try and fill in the gaps with adjunct professors. This is absolutely something you can do throughout the year, but it is specifically can be a summertime gig. And I will add that because of the pandemic and just life in general, there are so many more online programs. So this is something that you could even do remotely. That is specifically what I do. I'm an adjunct in the summer for a master's program online, and it really doesn't require a ton of live synchronous time from me. It is still your grading of papers, being available to students minimally throughout the week, but an excellent gig if you meet those different requirements. I would say you don't get paid a ton, but as I've calculated out at the standard, you're getting paid about $35 to $50 an hour for what the work actually is. That's not bad. Potentially could be more hourly than what you're getting paid at your regular teaching job. And finally, this idea really does excite me as well. Number 9 is being a special lecturer.
I like this idea. I have thoughts about this one.
Okay. So you are already a teacher. You know how to lecture. You know how to get a crowd to listen to you, a crowd of children, much less a crowd of adults. There are so many different fields that would want guest lecturers on a variety of subject matters. Of course, you do have to be an expert in said field, but if you're a teacher, you're an expert on something, guarantee you. Some of the ideas that they list are art exhibits. Different art installations might want a guest lecturer to talk about that installation or maybe even what that artwork is related to. Hold your faces and yourselves as I'm about to say this next thing. Cruise ships might want lecturers, depending on what the cruise is for. Maybe the cruise ship has its own type of like installation that they want a lecturer for, or maybe there's conferences happening on cruise ships that you could be a special lecturer for. Charity and fundraiser events, community education events, museums, public library classes. Not all of them are going to pay a ton. You might be talking, at minimum $40 for maybe an hour guest lecture spot, but you could be talking all the way up into, maybe the low thousands, depending on if you're a guest lecturer on a cruise ship. This is wild to me.
I will say this could work into the high thousands to tens of thousands, because what you can do here as like a guest lecturer, whether it's paid or not, is you can build a portfolio to where you are getting to speak at these conferences. So many teachers will have their one conference they go to every summer, right? You could be a keynote speaker at those teacher conferences every year. So if you can, create a keynote talk that would be of interest to teacher organizations, then this lower level stuff can work into really, like, these organizations are paying tens of thousands of dollars for high level keynote speakers. And they're not looking for like CEOs and, Steve Jobs type people, like they're looking like a music teacher conference is looking for a teacher to give some kind of motivational or inspirational or educational talk to other music teachers who also teach high schoolers or middle schoolers or elementary school teachers, So that's just something that this can work into. And there's a lot of conferences over the summer, making it a perfect opportunity.
I think that's beautiful, but I also think you don't have to pigeonhole yourself just because you're a teacher. You have to talk to teachers. I think you can use your teaching skill. Let's say you are a teacher, you've got all of that resource and knowledge of how to teach something, and you just happen to be an avid gardener. And you want to go give a guest lecture at your local nursery or your plant garden group, and they want to pay you. Like, Anything starts somewhere, and each speaking gig can build upon itself, but you also don't have to feel as though teaching is the only thing you're able to do.
Yeah.
You have a skill set that has a variety of different outlets. You can find what are the other things you're interested in, which does loop back to that first question that I asked about mental, emotional, physical capacity. Sometimes when we're exhausted in one area, it doesn't mean that all we need to do is sleep. Sometimes it does. Sometimes that's the best way to refresh ourselves. But we can also find rest and refreshment in just doing something different.
Yes.
Exercising a different aspect of who we are. So you might be exhausted with teaching children all day and you want the summer to rest, but you need money. Okay, how can you utilize the plethora of skill sets that you have that isn't exactly the same as what you did during the school year? Utilize your skill set, but find a different outlet for it that can make you money, that excites you, that is enjoyable.
Yep.
You know what does really excite me and I always find enjoyable?
That I think all teachers should be calling in with and letting us know, like any time of year, but especially the summer.
The bill of the week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the bill of the week.
Hi, Jen and Jill. This is Christine from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I wanted to tell you about my bill of the week I'm super excited about. I have a 2018 Toyota RAV4. I had a headlight go out, so I called the dealership. They wanted about $60 to go ahead and change the light bulb. And then I called a local garage thinking it would be cheaper, and it was astounding. They wanted $300 to change the light bulb in my car. So then I went on YouTube and I started watching videos about how to change the light bulb in my car, make and model. And then when we came home, I went to the store and I bought my light bulb. We came home and my husband and I held the flashlight, went in there, changed the light bulb for $31, and it took us less than 5 minutes. Thank you. Love the podcast.
Oh, Christine, I love a YouTube fixin' story. I love it. Oh, it makes me so happy.
That's what we're talking about, Christine. You knew you had options. You knew you didn't have to fork over $300 for someone else to do a 5-minute job that you yourself could easily do with the power of the internet and your go-get attitude, your gritty problem-solving nature.
Yes.
Yes. Changing out, I mean, I gotta say, I have not done it, but I have seen it done, and it is easy. And actually, any store that has an auto parts section, including Walmart, usually has a guide that will tell you the exact bulb to purchase for your car. You just look it up in the guide, find the bulb, get it. Yep. Then you watch the YouTube video and you do it yourself for $31 in less than 5 minutes. You saved yourself $270. Well done, Christine. And now you won't get pulled over and get a ticket for having a headlight out. If you all listening have a bill about just sticking it to the man, finding your own pathway forward, just being out here being a trailblazer and saving money, or your name is Bill and you've not done any of this, you've never changed a headlight before, but you are Bill, because that's your name, visit frugalfriendspodcast.com/Bill. Leave us your bill. For many of us, there comes a time when we need to navigate some complex money situations, and it's tough to know who to trust when receiving crucial financial advice. That's where Fearless Finance comes in.
Fearless Finance is making financial advice more affordable and accessible. They're a fee-only financial planning firm that provides on-demand, comprehensive financial planning by the hour, without the high fees and long-term commitments that come with traditional financial advisors. You can quit whenever you want with no strings attached.
Their planners meet you where you are at on your financial journey. So whether you're looking to buy a house, optimize your savings, or just want to get expert eyes on your finances to ensure you're on the right track, they can answer your questions and help you achieve your goals.
Visit fearlessfinance.com today to get started. You can chat with a planner for free to make sure it's a good fit. And you'll get $50 off your first planning meeting when you use the code FRUGAL.
Hi, I'm John Hope Bryant, host of Money and Wealth on the Black Effect Podcast Network. I'm an entrepreneur and a businessman. Some would call a thought leader. Now, every Thursday, my newest venture is educating you on how to win financially. Even better, I'm going to teach it in a way that, well, you can understand. No unexplained theories, no mundane lessons, no using 20 words when 2 will do. I'm going to meet you where you are and take you where you need to be. I'm giving you straight talk, relatable stories, and life lessons through my own experiences and the lens of others. We're not just talking about why financial freedom is important. We're focusing on how you can achieve it too. We all might have different starting points and end goals, but as long as we have the desire to acquire financial freedom, it can be done. From the streets to the suites. Listen to Money and Wealth with John Hope Bryant every Thursday on the Black Effect Podcast Network, iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you want to level up your marketing and business knowledge, then look no further than the Marketing School podcast hosted by Neil Patel and yours truly, Eric Sue. It is the #1 marketing podcast in the United States and number 15 on business in the United States. And it has amazing guests such as Alex Hormozi, Layla Hormozi, Cody Sanchez. We pull in these amazing interviews with other people that are not only great marketers, but actual operators. And the icing on the cake is Neil and myself were also operators as well. So we share learnings from the trenches. We share secrets that we otherwise wouldn't be sharing with other people. And we also share other advantages that will help you get ahead of your competition. So all you have to do is listen to Marketing School every weekday on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And now it's time for the lightning round.
All right, for today's vulnerability lightning round, what's your fondest memory of a summer side hustle that you've ever done? So I don't know if I've ever done one strictly summer. But man, I've done quite a few side hustles. I think my fondest is for sure the group home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I loved that place.
Yeah.
I loved it there.
Yeah.
I got to build like great relationships, and I got to be like I was the youngest person working with these kids. Like I was the only person under the age of 60.
Really?
Right? No, I mean, the staff in the office were my age, but like the moms and other respite were all just like, older retired women.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to build relationships and just be able to like get on a different level with the kids.
Yeah.
That was really great. I did that for about 3 years.
Whoa. Man, this is really unlocking some memories. I have made money doing so many things.
Not all can be shared on the podcast.
Not all of it was sustainable amounts of money, but I've gotten paid to do nearly everything that's legal. Honestly, this is probably my favorite side hustle. It became my main hustle.
Ooh.
This was a side hustle for me for a very long time that has eclipsed the rest of it and has become a main hustle. Like by surprise.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Nobody anticipated that a podcast would become a main. It's nothing that we would recommend.
Not me.
That's for sure.
There was a time that I babysat a friend's child in exchange for food. That might be the most unique. That I didn't actually get paid for that, but I was just like, food is my main problem. I don't even have time to make food, nor do I even know where to start. But I will watch your baby, and you love cooking, so you make me food. That happened for a while. I did enjoy that. That was nice. I'm always looking for ways to like pay someone else to make me food, even though I am getting better at it. I'd love to outsource that.
I probably won't make you food, but you can hold my baby.
I'll do that, but I'd love it if you made me food.
I will try. I'm always also looking for people to make me food.
I'm remembering now too. I got paid like commissioned art. I like made different charcoal drawings for people that they paid me for. I have flipped furniture for money. Beyond all the other side hustles you've heard me talk about. Yeah, flipped RVs, sold plants on the side of the road, bartended at weddings, DJ'd weddings.
Day of coordinator.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've done day of coordination. Yeah.
Yeah. You've definitely done more side hustles than I have.
And I am more poor than you are. So go figure.
No. Ours just came from a few lucky side hustles. The Airbnb out of our house, that was really good. That was very lucrative as compared to the time it took to actually work the quote unquote side hustle. That worked out really well for us. And selling t-shirts. That just lucked out. I got really lucky with the algorithm until somebody like maliciously took me down. And then it just wasn't fun anymore. It just got so vicious. Like the merch by Amazon like world got very vicious, very automated, and I just like couldn't keep up. I was just like doing it for funsies.
Yeah.
So but that also became very lucrative for a short amount of time. So, and we used, since those were both before we had kids, we just invested all of that.
Yeah.
So,
Well done.
that was the secret. So like if you're looking to do a side hustle just to maybe catch up with retirement.
There you go.
Like just do something for funsies.
Yeah.
And put the extra towards retirement.
Yeah.
That's what we did. I wasn't passionate about Airbnb.
Yeah.
I still do it, but I'm not passionate
And
about
there you
it.
go. You don't have to commit to it for a lifetime.
Yeah.
You can do any one of these things, make some money off of it, learn from it, and move on.
Yep.
Like me, I hardly made any money, but I got a lot of skill set.
She got a lot of skills, y'all. She got a lot. Thank you so much for listening. Many of you know that we have a newsletter. If you don't, we have a newsletter. It's called the Friendletter. It goes out 3 times a week where we send out freebies, saving tips, life hacks to help you save money, all kinds of things. And we want to give a shout out to this friend for replying to us with this sweet email. It's from Laurel. And she says, love you gals. Jen, you helped me by scoring the Starbucks mug at a local thrift shop for $6. And she sent us a picture when she says this Starbucks mug. Instead of $36 new at the store, in January, I saved $75 because I used this mug at home instead of the drive-thru. Never thought it would work for me. Famous last words, but it did. Thanks for all you do, ladies. Also, because of your inspiration, we started saving for this sweet girl that we got last fall. It was a cute picture of her doggy. We even have an emergency fund for her. And this was in February. So she says, Happy Valentine's Day from a former shopaholic who's now on a budget, still likes to shop, just very particular now in a good way. Take care.
Oh, my word. P.S. No, she didn't get the coffee, though she did try. LOL.
It was a picture of the dog with the coffee. It was very cute. Thank you, Laurel.
That's so kind. And what an amazing encouragement for us and celebratory realization for you that this is truly what we are hoping to do for ourselves, encourage you all towards is just getting control of impulse spending and spending more intentionally and finding yourself with some of the margin to put towards the things that you really value and enjoy. It's beautiful. Well done. Thanks for listening. If you want to be inspired like this, frugalfriendspodcast.com. Get the friend letter. You can just get more from us.
See you next time.
Bye.
Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Sirianni.
Okay, Jen.
Yes.
Speaking of trying different side hustles, you know me, I'm always looking for ways to make more money. I'm always just looking for money on the ground, you know?
You are.
Which Eric, this is not what I plan on telling you, but I'm about to, found he just got a button-down shirt, I want to say from the thrift store, but possibly not. But it had a little pocket in it. We were having lunch the other day, and he just like reaches in his pocket and pulls out a $5 bill.
Hey!
He's like, I haven't washed the shirt yet. It's my first time wearing it. There's just a $5 bill in the shirt pocket. Oh, good day. A good Sunday.
I love that.
Finding a $5. Yeah, that was beautiful. But instead of Airbnb, I tried out Peerspace. Did I tell you about this?
Yeah. Well, you told me you posted on Peerspace.
I posted on Peerspace.
Tell the people about Peerspace.
Okay, so Peerspace is an opportunity for you to list your space online for people to rent for like more an hourly or day rate. So no one's sleeping over. It's different from Airbnb in that way, but people could rent it for business meetings or maybe even like photography or videography shoots or some sort of event, maybe like a small business gathering, or if you want to extend your hours later into the night and let people host parties at your house, you could do that. So really excited about it because you can actually make more money off of it. Peerspace, what people will pay hourly, than you can sometimes on an overnight at your place. And then you don't have to like give people a bed, although people probably aren't booking as regularly. So there is a bit of a trade-off, but a little bit more bang for your buck at that point, or vice versa as the recipient of it. But I was excited about this idea, and so I put our space up on it. Now, I did just have a recent interaction that does not bode well for me. I had turned on instant booking. It was encouraged to do that when we first signed up for it. Like, let people instantly book it and they're more likely to book it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. I'll just make sure that the calendar's up to date. Well, fast forward to now, I've had a few inquiries about it, not people instantly booking, just kind of messaging me to see if the space is going to be a good fit for them. So I haven't totally thought about the fact that instant booking is on. So this one woman reaches out to me. She's like, hey, I'm thinking about hosting my 40th birthday party at your place from 4 to 7 p.m. Just 3 hours for a 40th birthday party. And I was like, hey, how exciting. You know, let me get a little bit more information from you and we can kind of see if this can work. Like, are you planning on staying here? Are you planning on setting up and tearing down and having your party in this 3-hour time span? And she was like, well, I was hoping for like a 30-minute grace period to set up. And then I said, well, are you planning on bringing your own food? Or because I do have an option where I could like get it catered for them, not me providing the food, but like collecting and curating the food. And she said, no, we'll bring our own food. So I'm like, okay, that's decent. And then literally after a few minutes of thinking about it, it was within a couple of days, I was not feeling well and knew that I'd have a lot of cleaning to do, and it just like wasn't going to be worth it. Just the timing. I'm like, she wants a 30-minute grace period ahead of time. 40th birthday party. They do say they're going to be drinking. They're not going to be out of here by 7 p.m. Nope. There's no way. I just don't feel comfortable about this. So I wrote back and said, unfortunately, listed out all these reasons. I don't think I'm going to be able to give you what you deserve for your 40th birthday party. Literally, as I send that message, she books it. She's not even waiting for my response to all these different clarification pieces. She just books it. So then I gave it another like 40 minutes to see if she saw my message and if she would cancel. So I'm like, I don't want to be the one to cancel, but I did. I canceled. I was the one to cancel. And now I'm getting all these messages from Peerspace being like, this is your first one, so you're fine. But if you ever do it again, there's going to be fines, fees. And they even said, if there are any costs incurred by the guest or Peerspace as a result of this cancellation, we'll be reaching out to you to pay those. And now I feel bullied and scared.
Well, yeah, because they want to, it has to be a good end result for the user. Airbnb does the same thing because there were a lot, I mean, there have been horror stories, right? But if you turn, I mean, it's just like they're not going to charge you after the first time, obviously, but it is something that sites like that take very seriously.
Yeah, I'm still on it. I'm still excited about the possibilities of it. I just turned off instant booking for now until I get, I mean, maybe that'll mean people aren't going to be booking it.
Something you can do with keeping instant booking on is that you can make minimum parameters and you can set really clear guidelines. Like renting is a 4-hour minimum. There is no grace period for set up and tear down. You have to pay. You be very clear in the description.
Yeah.
And that way, when you turn instant booking on and keep all your communication on the platform.
Yeah,
So there's no way they're going to charge you for anything because they'll see 40 minutes after booking that it was canceled. So there's,
Yeah, I mean, within 2 hours of her initial request, I told her it wasn't going to work. So Yeah.
So, but being very clear, like in our Airbnb listing, like we're very clear, this is an apartment. This is an apartment. It is attached to a primary residence and it's on a quiet street. But you're not getting a single family home.
Yeah.
You just make it really clear what you're getting into so they know they have no room to complain or, try to skirt, like push the edge of the allotment.
Yeah, there's just a learning curve, I think, with all of these things. Like even with the side hustles that we were just talking about, like some of them sound really cool and could be lucrative, but there's still always going to be like a learning curve and potential failure along the way.
I think a really good lesson to learn in stuff like this is that you have to protect yourself first. Don't be like, oh, I'll do anything. Like I'll cook for these people. I'll cater this. Protect yourself first, under promise and potentially over deliver, or under promise and just adequately, moderately deliver.
Yeah.
This is when you are promising too much when you're a business owner, you will quickly burn yourself out.
Yeah.
But when you stay in your lane, only work in your capacity, then you have the capacity to over deliver in some instances.
Keep adding on as you go. That is good. Cool.
Yeah.
Good word.
Hi there. I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. I'm excited to announce a new season of my podcast, Math and Magic: Stories from the Frontiers of Marketing. Our guests this season show us big risk can yield big rewards. Like Rob Riley, the creative head of one of the world's leading advertising firms.
I try to create environments where anybody can say anything without any judgment.
Listen to a brand new season of Math and Magic on our very own iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we are coming back to Atlanta
right now. Whoa.
Mark your calendars because the second annual Black Effect Podcast Festival is happening on Saturday, April 27th. Hosted by B-Dot and Pretty V. Last year was nuts, but we about to do it bigger and better. We've got some of your favorite podcasts like Carefully Reckless, Horrible Decision, and the Good Brothers Wallow 267 and Gilly the Kid, just to name a few. Go get your tickets right now, blackeffect.com/podcast festival. We'll see you Saturday, April 27th.
I'm Johnny B. Good, the host of the podcast Creating a Con, the story of Bitcoin. This podcast dives deep into the story of Ray Trapani and his company, Centratech. I'll explore how three 20-somethings built a company out of lies, deceit, and greed.
I've been saying since a very young age that I was going to be a millionaire. If someone's like, oh, what's your best way of making money? I'm like, oh, we should start some sort of scheme.
Listen to Creating a Con, the story of Bitcoin, starting April 3rd on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.